The idea of English as an international language can be summarized by the thought that the English speaking language does not belong to a culture or a specific country. There are many reasons why we should consider English as an international language, but I will only focus on three reasons. First, the first reason is that English has developed beyond the received pronunciation, and you could actually walk down on Oxford Street in London and you will hear hundreds of different dialects and accents that are nothing like the RP or the British standard that is traditionally taught all over the world. In fact, if you want to adapt your teaching to your students and their knowledge, and not the other way around, well, then you should bear in mind to be up to date on how you teach different aspects of the English language, and in particular, whose culture you're teaching. Now, secondly, the second reason is if anyone ought to choose a specific accent or dialect, which dialect would you choose? Which? Well, that's difficult, isn't it? Because the syllabus for English states that teaching English should consist of discovering and learning about areas and contexts where English is used all over the world. That involves the fact that there is no privilege and special accent to symbolize or capture the essence of the language. On the contrary, the use of English as an international language is more connected to any country or any culture that has embedded and adapted the English language. Your teaching should therefore help your future students to learn and discover different cultures and living conditions all around the world without narrowing it down to a specific elite or group. If your aim as a teacher is to empower your students to encounter this English speaking world with confidence and enabling them and their comprehension, you should expose the students to a great variety of non-standard variations as possible. The third reason is that language and your language teaching should enable children to a higher literacy and reading in English that goes beyond traditionally texts or books. Books like English textbooks or workbooks that generally highlights a native speaking ideal are often one-sided. As a matter of fact, the syllabus stresses that one of the main purposes of teaching English is to increase knowledge about different living conditions, which is essential for the children's future, in particular if you as a teacher want to enable them to succeed in higher education. According to my experience, let's focus on me now a little bit. I believe that English teaching depends too much on personal views and local school environments. Therefore, it is very important that future research highlights the positive effects of English as an international language in primary education. The idea that some teachers are not in favor of the integration of intercultural skills in foreign language education, well, that's just kind of sad. And such narrow-minded perspective that views English as an international language as something unnecessary and states that intercultural skills are not aligned with learners' language development or thinking or attitude shows me there is more room for further development in foreign language education, as well as Western school literature that describes foreign cultures from a very traditionally one-sided point of view. Let's talk about the children's story Shadow. Now, making a story short, the story gives me a reminder of the prejudice that exists not only in Afghanistan, not only in Europe, but all over the world. The main antagonist, a man's enemy, is for me not a person, but it is actually the ignorance and the inability to put yourself in the situations of others and their living conditions. Much like the inability to understand and show positive regard for others and their life, and having an intercultural competence with interpersonal skills as well as social interaction skills. You must be able to show empathy, skills and attitudes that a foreign language teacher that you should possess to be able to teach intercultural competence or even the English language as an intercultural language. But what does it mean to develop this intercultural perspective in your teaching, in English teaching? Well, it could mean that as a teacher, you can make a difference, especially if you stand for inspiring your students to broaden their perspective of other foreign cultures. It could also mean that you must be able to question your own culture and all other cultures, but not with the aim to start a discussion or an endless debate, but to develop an interest in language and other cultures and convey the benefits of language, skills, and knowledge.